one investment that I would really recommend you do is go to your local bike shop or come to trisports.com and buy yourself a good torque wrench. Today's bikes, very, very high tech. There's a lot of technology on here. There's also a lot of carbon, so it's very easy to put too much muscle into stuff and break stuff. So you always, I don't care how long you've been working on bikes, you always want to use a torque wrench. You don't want to use the feel method. There's too much that can go wrong, and there's a lot of expensive parts on here. So always use a good torque wrench. So go to your manufacturer's site, check out their frequently asked questions, download the torque specs. But as a general rule, this doesn't mean you can not go to their site and check it out. But as a general rule, 4mm Allen bolts will take about 6 Nm, 6 to 8 Nm. You want to make sure it's tight enough where it doesn't flip down on you, but you want to make sure that's not loose on you. So you don't want to over tighten it to the point that you crack your nice carbon handlebars. The first thing I do is I put the wheel on, so that way I know how I want those handlebars oriented. The flip side of the quick release, you want to put it on the non-drive side, i.e. the left side of the bike. That's the way it is on the rear wheel. Aesthetically, it just looks nicer. Doesn't really make a big deal, but you don't want to look like a noob out there. I'm going to take the wheel off in just a second, but what I want to see how these handlebars are going to be oriented. What I do is I pull this up as it would be on the road, and I don't want them pointing down like this. That's a little bit too low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate them up a little bit, right about what my riding style would be. Yours could be different. And then you want to go ahead and snug these down. Don't tighten them down, just snug them down so they don't move on their own. Then take your torque wrench, set it to the appropriate torque, go to the site, check it out. And you want to do as you would do a car tire, do this in a star pattern. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the front wheel again. Now this is set. Take a 5mm Allen key, 99.9% of the time it's 5mm. Undo this bolt, back it off all the way. And now insert the front part onto the bike. Make sure that the washer is still there. This washer here. Insert it all the way through. You want to turn the handlebars to the side. Take that bolt, put it through the rear, and tighten it down. Now, you don't tighten it down all the way. You just want to get it snug. It's snug enough so but I can still move the brake. It's important. Of course, you don't want to ride off like this, but this is important because when you put the front wheel in, you want to make sure that the brakes line up. Tighten down your skewer. Okay, the reason we wanted this loose is we want to orient this brake the right way. We want to make sure that this lever is all the way down. You want to go ahead and hit the brakes. Now you can go ahead and tighten this down because now this has oriented itself when it's centered itself. Take your 5mm Allen key and now you can tighten this down. And now when you open up the brakes, the wheel spins freely and the brakes are good to go. Now, when you go through your tuning process, you just want to go through the gears, make sure it shifts properly. One shift, one back here. If it doesn't, take it to your local bike shop. It's probably just a minimal adjustment. Because a lot of these cables are internally routed, we can't pre-stretch them. So all we can do is go through the gears 10 or 12 times and hopefully that stretches it out. Ideally, if it's that external cable routing, we grab the cable, yank it down, really get all that stretch out of the cable. But you will, because internally routed bikes, you will need to take them to your shop more often than your old bikes. So, 1/2 increments. You want to be careful not to double shift. Just do one. Go through all the gears, make sure it's working right. Not jumping off the chain. And you're good to go. What you can do is you can install your seat post. Go ahead and cinch it down. Torque it down to the torque specs that are on the bolt. They're usually on the seat post clamp. There will be a torque spec on there. Okay, the only thing left to do here is to put our pedals on. However, you want to make sure if you have this type of crank or a crank similar to this, if it has a little notched piece right here, that means that there should be a washer here. Make sure, look in your accessory bags when you pulled out your bike and see if there is a little baggie or two little washers. They could be black or silver. Pedal washers. If your crank has a recessed part here, it has to have this washer, so when you take off your pedals, it's easy for it to come off. So take your pedals. Hopefully you've bought some clipless pedals. These are just for test riding. Go to trisports.com. We offer a wide selection of pedals. Take some grease, put it on the threads just a little bit, doesn't take a lot. Now, when you go to put your pedals on, they both screw on towards the front of the bike. In other words, the right side, the drive side, is righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. However, the non-drive side is left-hand thread. But if you just remember that they both go on towards the front of the bike and they both come off towards the back of the bike, you won't have any problems. Make sure you got the right one for the right side and just start screwing it on. Now once you feel bite on there, then you can go ahead and hold the spindle, and what you can do is spin backwards. And that'll snug it down. Do the same thing to the other side. Again, I'm going towards the front of the bike. And once I have bite, then I can go ahead and spin backwards while holding the spindle, and it snugs itself down. Now, it's not ready to just go out and ride. Make sure you have a pedal wrench or a 15 millimeter cone wrench. Take it on here, grab it on here, take your rear wheel, grab your rear wheel, pull it backwards as you're pulling this down. Just put a little bit of pressure. Don't take a tremendous amount, just a little bit of pressure. That's it. Do the same thing for the other side. Put it on here. Again, you're going to go towards the front of the bike as you spin the wheel backwards and tighten itself down. That's it. You're done. Enjoy your ride. Wear your helmet. Have fun out there.